Hiya! So I get these episodes, but I sometimes like to call it being a huge wuss. I don't like to talk about it that much, because people, they don't get it. So today, I'm going to talk about times when I had episodes in public that made me look like a huge wussy crybaby. I always had this fear of making a scene in public because of these episodes, and I came close to doing that one time I visited Mall of America. Before I get into it, this is a problem I keep making for myself. Moments before me and my friend arrives at the place, I feel an episode coming on, but I'm so in denial that I ignore it. All the time when this happens, I tell myself to suck it up. You gotta just ignore it and be normal. Hey! You're a pussy. So we were at the mall, and usually when I feel an episode coming on, I kind of act different. My mood shifts. So my friend always notices. So he's like, "You okay? We can leave if you want." But I'm so stubborn. So I tried to tough it out. But it wasn't too long before I caved, and I'm like, "Okay, I want to go back to the hotel now." And every time when I have an episode, my anxiety slowly builds up. I feel like I'm gonna kill someone. Because I feel this intense sensation coming on, and it makes me want to scream and cry. And well, I can't be around other people when that happens. Because someone might be like, "Mommy, what's wrong with that lady?" "Oh, she's probably a patient from the insane asylum." So that's why I usually have to be alone. So me and my friend were on our way out, but before we reached the exit, my friend was like, "Can you wait here for a minute? I gotta use the bathroom. I know you're about to have a mental breakdown and everything, but stay right here and try not to make a scene." I never told him this, but I felt like killing him. I was super mad. So while he was in the bathroom, I didn't know what else to do with myself. So I tried to stay calm, and I held on to something. I usually do that. I usually just hold on to something for comfort because, I usually do things I don't normally do. But anyway, I was holding on to this thing. I forgot what it was. But by the time my friend came back, I was in tears. I was crying. I was on the floor because I was too weak to stand. So we got back to our hotel room. My friend left me alone for a while so I can scream and have my little fit and let my episode run its course. When my friend came back to check on me, he wondered why the door was locked. Because I guess he didn't want the door locked in case anything happened. He needs to be able to get to me. But don't worry, nothing ever happens. So there's another time I was having an episode in public. It was at Barnes & Noble. So I was sitting there and I started feeling unwell like I usually do. Then my head started feeling funny, kind of tingly. You know how when your head feels tingly, So I put my hands on my head while facing down. Then I looked up, and there was some lady at the table across from me doing the exact same thing I was doing. Till this day, I wonder if she was mimicking me. So what I find kind of annoying is that some people think that my episodes can be triggered by certain things, which is true, but I'll get to that in a bit. One time I was visiting my brother and he had this sick VR headset. I always heard of these, but I never got to see one in person. It was so cool, so I wanted to try it. So I did. But my brother didn't want me to have an episode right in the middle of his living room, so he turned the flashing lights off. I guess there was a feature where there was flashing lights or something. I wonder what that would have looked like. But I get it, better safe than sorry. But I'm not photosensitive though. But I do have some triggers, such as excitement. There's a lot of times I had episodes at Chuck E. Cheese. Or even in the hot summer weather. Because one summer, every time I tried to ride my bike, I felt an episode coming on. So you know what I did? Sat my ass inside. I didn't have much choice, now did I? And if I stayed up too late, yeah, I'll feel an episode coming on. And there's been plenty of theme park rides I had to miss out on. Because of the intensity or the excitement of the rides would probably trigger something because I'm a big wussy crybaby. So one time I wanted to go on the Tilt-A-Whirl, but I couldn't. But you know who did get to go on the Tilt-A-Whirl? My brother. But I guess that was fine. The thing looked scary anyway. I feel like I had some restrictions due to my condition of being a wussy wuss. My mom didn't want me to visit my friend who lives out of state one time because she thought I might end up in the hospital due to my episodes, and if I did, she would have to be there because I guess she's my emergency contact or something, which would be a valid concern if I had a history of going to the hospital for my episodes. Another time I had an episode in public was when I was 6. I never went to this school long term, but I went to kindergarten for a week, so sometimes these episodes can happen in my sleep, and when that happens, I usually wake up feeling not the greatest. So on a school day, I woke up not feeling like myself. I don't even know how my parents got me out of the house that day. I don't even remember walking up to the building. And like usual, I wasn't acting like myself. I mean, I didn't talk much anyway, but I felt sick. But today wasn't like any other day. Today, the teacher brought in someone. I forgot who or why, but some guy or girl, I don't remember what they looked like. Because the teacher wanted me to get up from my seat because she wanted me to meet this person. So anyway, I sat back down and just refused to get up again. Because a few kids in our class, including me, were chosen to go with this person. At the time, I didn't know for what, but I refused to get back up again. I think some other kid went in my place. But once the school day was over, I started feeling better. Not great, but a little better. So the teacher took my hand and walked me down the hall. She took me to this room, and I saw the boy from my class with the person from earlier, and they were playing with toy dinosaurs. Till this day, I don't know who that person was or why they wanted some kids to play with little toy dinosaurs. It was weird. So now you would think with all these episodes I have, I probably shouldn't drive. Well, one time I took the driver's test. I studied, and I studied, and I studied some more. And in the end, I so did not get it. Are you kidding? I only answered like 14 questions right, and most of them were based on luck. Next. Okay, do you have a condition that makes you lose consciousness? Whoa, you're not even going to check my medical record? Excuse me? No, I don't. My episodes don't happen that frequently anymore, and I usually know when it's coming, but sometimes my body tenses up and I have to close my eyes really tight, so that kinda could be dangerous. So you probably not want to get in the car with me. So I was thinking we go to the mall, and then tonight for dinner we can go to McDonald's. Oh, Paige, we're not even on the road anymore. Hey! Oh, that horrible feeling is back. But if I were to meet someone new, especially if I started dating, I wouldn't tell the person about my episodes. What, are you nuts? I've tried Tinder, and the question I usually get is, so what do you do for a living? Well, I get these episodes, and sometimes they feel really intense that I have to scream and be alone. So I don't really work. So what do you do? But no, I don't say any of that. Whenever anyone asks this, I just say something like, I'm a struggling artist, or I'm a YouTuber, but don't look me up. You know, sometimes my episodes aren't really bad. I never really told anyone this, but sometimes I love the sensation. It gives me this rush. It's awesome. Sometimes. But I do sometimes get these other episodes where I slur my words and my body feels all weird. So anytime I try to do an activity like shooting hoops, like it feels weird. It feels weird when the basketball leaves my hand. Like I don't have a good grip on it. And even when I type, I mean, usually I type pretty fast because I'm always on the computer. But whenever I'm having these episodes, I type so slow. So whenever this happens, my friend doesn't want me to be on my phone for some reason. So he'll be like, can I see that? Sure.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
You're probably wondering when these episodes all started. Well, even if you're not, I'm still gonna tell you. This was actually my first memory. I was like 4 and I didn't feel like myself. So I told my mom I didn't feel good and I climbed up on the couch. I didn't feel like doing anything because I didn't feel good. When I was little, these episodes were happening more often. And as a little kid, I didn't know how to tell people how I was feeling. So when I was having an episode, I would get sad or I didn't feel like talking. And my parents would be like, what's wrong? Do you miss Nana? That's what we called my grandmother. And I would say yes, because I couldn't actually tell them what was really bothering me. Another thing about my episodes is that I can't lift up my head when it's happening. Like when I had an episode in kindergarten, the teacher wanted me to lift up my head to look at her, but I couldn't. I probably got in trouble for that. Anyway, these episodes would happen so frequently that my stepdad thought I was faking it, until I started throwing up a lot. and me throwing up was a common occurrence in our house. Honey, Paige is having one of her episodes. Get the puke bucket. I'm not kidding about that. I really did have a bucket that everybody called the puke bucket. When I got older, I started keeping it under my bed because sometimes these episodes made me a little sick, or sometimes they can make me a lot sick. So I kept that bucket under my bed until I was 20. But as I got older, the symptoms got worse. I would have nausea, anxiety, hot flashes, hyperventilation, the fun stuff. And since I grew up like this, I kind of thought this occurrence was normal. Like everybody goes through this, right? Yeah, I was a dumb kid. But then I started thinking, my brain actually started working, and I thought, wait a minute, my parents don't have to get sick all the time. My brother doesn't get these episodes. Is this not normal? But as a little kid, I didn't mind it so much. I would feel weird for a while, get sad, then I'd feel better, and then forget all about it until my next episode. But when I got older, these episodes became more debilitating because I would just be sick all day. I'd be too tired or weak to do anything. I always hated telling people about these episodes and how they make me so sick because everybody gets sick. Because when regular people get sick, maybe you have a cold or the flu or a hay fever, whatever that is. Sometimes these episodes would make me so sick in public that I would have to ride one of those mobility scooters you see in Walmart. Those scooters you always wanted to play on when you were a kid, but mostly handicapped or obese people use them. So it was kind of embarrassing when I had to use one, because it didn't look like there was anything wrong with me. What do you think you're doing? Well, I don't feel well. Oh, you don't feel well? There's people who actually need those scooters more than you. I know, but sometimes there's a man with only one leg and you took the last scooter. How does that make you feel? Well, I didn't know. So your inconvenience is more important than a disabled man with one leg? I didn't say that. You should be ashamed of yourself. But much like my period, I would never keep track of my episodes. But if I were to go weeks without having one, I would start to notice. I don't really get sick like I used to. I still get episodes, but they're not severe anymore. So instead of being sick all day, I usually have my intense sensations, and it usually ends pretty quickly. But don't worry, I'm still a wussy crybaby about it. I don't know, these days I usually just wake up feeling kind of weird. So when I wake up for a short time, I'll feel lightheaded, tired, or weak. I think I mostly outgrew this. So the moral of this story is, if you have an episode in public, don't be a wuss about it. No, that's a terrible moral. I'm sorry, that sounded mean. The real moral of the story is it's okay to be a wuss because people don't know what you're going through.
You're still a pussy.
So thanks for watching. I like to draw. Here's some of my art. Subscribe.